Hey everyone, so happy to be back here with you. I am excited about the next few videos. I am going to be talking on the 8 ways on becoming unbridled. And this first video is one of the most important videos, important ways, the first way into stepping into the freedom of being an unbridled woman. So the first step, you ready? The first step is embracing your authentic self. Wow, right? So there's a lot here. Embracing, right? Embracing acceptance, loving, authentic. What exactly is that to you? That it's a pretty deep word. And then self, that's sovereignty. So the two words I really want to emphasize in this first step is embracing and authentic. So I'm going to take a moment and just allowing yourself to embrace the beauty and the power that is you, just as you are right now. Because to become unbridled, we first and foremost have to love and accept ourselves exactly as we are. And that means honoring your strengths and honoring the weaknesses, looking at what we like and what we dislike, looking at our passions and our goals. And an essential part of being authentic and unbridled is embracing the shadow, right? So to truly love and accept ourselves, we must embrace all aspects of our being, including the shadow parts that we have previously rejected and or suppressed. Therefore, that is why they have become shadows. It's a part of our lost self. It's a part that we have learned to repress because we've had the experiences it wasn't safe for us to express this part of ourselves, or we found out we weren't liked, or we weren't part of the tribe when we expressed ourselves like this. And this wounding usually comes early on in childhood. So as we start looking at our shadows, it's this helpful tool in being authentic, really showing up as you are. It means being honest with yourself. It means, taking in account these shadow parts and those uncomfortable emotions that it may bring up, and feeling what these emotions are in the body, like really bringing in the somatic feeling of, and these are just a few emotions that I find are hard for our women to express. A lot of women feel like have anger, unexpressed shame, guilt, unexpressed fear. And moving through our daily life with an awareness of when our shadow parts start to come up for us. And that's usually when we feel triggered and or a charge coming up in our body. And so it's really helpful to, before you even get to that, is take time. Those days when you want to your self-care days, we think of like, oh, I'm just going to, self-care means bath, massage, facial, sleeping in, which it all does. Sometimes self-care is also looking deep within ourselves and taking the time to, all right, like what are some memories or thoughts that I can conjure up to possibly bring up anger within me, possibly bring up shame or guilt within me, and not to re-traumatize yourself with it, but what you want to do is feel that in your body. So for instance, you can think of maybe a time when, you know, your best friend, stood you up on your birthday, and then you feel like, wow, you felt anger there. And where is that? And maybe it's like in your stomach. Maybe you had like this punch in the gut, or like someone just feeling like abandoning you on a big day for yourself, right? So what does this anger feel like? It's a punch in the gut. So when you're going through your daily life and if all of a sudden you sense like this gut reaction, like, oh, that hurt, like, and you're like, oh, someone just canceled on me. I was looking forward to this lunch date with a friend and she just canceled on me and I felt this. And like, oh, that's the anger that I felt with my friend, 5 years ago. Is there an earlier time when I felt this, right? So we can start going backwards and seeing where this lost self, where our self got lost, got pushed back into the shadows. And the thing about shadows, like any shadow, once light is put on a shadow, it disappears. So once we bring our awareness, our light into these shadows, then we're on that journey to wholeness, right? To feeling more complete within ourselves. And in this process of loving and accepting these shadow parts of ourselves, we become more accepting and loving and compassionate toward others, right? Because we see ourselves as these imperfect beings. Therefore, we see people as imperfect beings, imperfect human beings, because our divine being, our soul is perfect. What we're noticing on a daily basis, the physicality and the physical actions of this human being in front of us. So when we can love ourselves more, accept ourselves more, we understand the divinity of our own being. Then when we look through our physical eyes at someone, we see the divineness in them, the divinity in them before we see the humanness. Instead of right now in a lot of in this world, we see this humanness before the divinity, and we judge. And as we deepen our relationships and our connections with others, we get a greater sense of empathy, right, and understanding of this world, and hopefully of why we are here, and what we're meant to contribute. So, in essence, to be an unbridled woman means embracing all aspects of yourself, including the shadow, and loving ourselves completely, unconditionally. And then this journey towards self-discovery and self-love is definitely an ongoing process. But it's one that can lead to greater joy and fulfillment and authenticity in your lives. I mean, it's definitely a 2 steps forward, 1 step back journey. But that is what's true in the journey of self-awareness and healing and becoming into wholeness, is like, because we are part divine and part human, so we're not going to be perfect. So as long as we're making forward progress, then we'll be able to see the gifts of our work. So my prayer is that we all find the courage to embrace our authentic selves, and that we honor and celebrate this divine feminine within all of us. So this step one, this embracing your authentic self. Yes, there's a lot here, but as you can see, hopefully through this talk, is the importance of this. Loving ourselves so wholly, so completely, and living in the highest, most authentic version of ourselves. So I wish you so much love, and I will see you in the second way to become unbridled.